Now, when you look at Maboneng, you certainly see that as South Africans, we have these spaces with huge potential. Is that what attracted you to the country?
Well, when I first came to the country, I was working for the French Development Agency, and I worked for the social and affordable housing portfolio. So here again, looking at vacant properties and how to regenerate these properties into affordable housing. And I also published a study for this university, this is why I stayed, about walkability and how people walk in the city. And you've experienced also Johannesburg, I think also, and the question of who walks and where is a very, very key question in Johannesburg. So I published a whole book about that called Back to the Streets, and then became involved with the Maboneng precinct. Now moving on to the Street Society, my own company about specialized on urban regeneration. And I also started an initiative called GRIND, which stands for Global Regeneration Initiative for Neighborhood Development. And it's a non-profit organization which promotes inclusive and alternative urban regeneration projects.
Now, I want to talk about those two things, but I want to go back to what you were saying, because in researching you a bit, somebody asked you, what is the first job of an urban strategist? And you said, walk, walk, walk. You really believe in using your feet to get around areas. Why?
Because when you walk, you see things, I mean, it's quite, it's quite simple to say that, but you see things you can't see from your car. I think the car offers like this protection from your environment, which doesn't allow you to see your own environment. There's a saying that says, from the car you can't see the sky. I mean, some cars now here actually can't see the sky. But that's exactly the thing, your vision is restricted. When you walk, you meet people also much more easily. And it breaks also your mental boundaries. So some places you would drive and think they're dangerous, when you actually walk through them, you realize they're not as dangerous, and you engage with the people, and that makes you feel safer. This is why walking is so important, especially in a South African context, in South African urban context.
Now, tell us about your work, your company, and what you do on a day-to-day basis.
Sure. So, as an urban strategist, started the Street Society. It's a company that promotes alternative way of regenerating neighborhoods. So we do a lot of pop-up installations in urban spaces, and we find solutions to make public and private spaces more dynamic, more interesting, more attractive, always in connection with the local communities. A lot of also urban research, a lot of strategy, master planning, and pop-up installations, activations. So it's really about starting dialogues with the communities and neighborhoods and making places better, transforming neighborhoods in a way that are good for everyone.
Now, how does that differ from GRIND? Because, of course, you started both these organizations.
GRIND really works on temporary basis. It's pop-up studios of volunteers. So this is how it works as a non-profit. And young students from around the world and young volunteers, young professionals often, come to the studio to implement their own urban project. For 3 weeks, they actually actively work on their prototypes and test them in the area in which the GRIND studio is located. So for them, it's an amazing opportunity to test their ideas and see if the latest urban furniture bench works somewhere, or if the community engagement platform Cube works, or whatever I'm talking about. Yeah, one of the projects we actually did. And it's also, they contribute to start a dialogue with the community. It's a more short-term basis, temporary with volunteers.
This sounds so wonderful. Is it too late for me to change careers?
You should join, and you should send your CV.
Well, I'll stick to journalism until the end of the interview, because we need to finish.
Yeah, we're going to have a few pop-up studios coming in the next months in different cities of the world. So in Cape Town, most probably. I've been invited here by the Greater Tygerberg Partnership. And we're thinking about organizing a GRIND pop-up studio in Belleville, which is a very interesting area. And also the next pop-ups in Detroit and one in Paris also coming soon.
Now, you've preempted my next question, and that's what are you doing in Cape Town?
Yes, exactly. So I've been invited by the Greater Tygerberg Partnership, which is a partnership that looks at the rejuvenation of the Tygerberg area, including and involving a multiplicity of stakeholders, from business owners to community of residents, etc. And I just discovered the Belleville and the Tygerberg area from yesterday. And already what I've seen for me is very interesting. It's a very cosmopolitan area. You can find everything there. And I can't wait to spend more time here.
Well, we're certainly grateful that you are putting your time and your energy into our country. Thank you for that.
No, thanks to you too.
It is a great country, isn't it?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I love South Africa. It's amazing.
Oh, we love being here.
Yeah.
And it's so exciting to think that South Africans can get involved with these projects and get involved in our own communities.
Absolutely. And I think it's important to remind that creating great urban environments at the end is a collective responsibility. So everyone from the council to the developers to the residents to the business owners must come together and must be proactive about what urban environments they would like to see for themselves. And I think if everybody looks at their own neighborhood to start with, even their own block, you can actually make such a big difference in this country.
I think that that's a mindset change that we need to go through, because often when we see something that we don't like, it's very easy to whip out your phone and send an angry tweet about it, or to think, oh, my council is not doing enough. But really, we can get involved in our own spaces too.
Absolutely. It's very important to remind ourselves that, and it's important to express frustrations and try to reach out for some help. At the same time, starts with what difference you're going to make on your own block, in your own property, in your own neighborhood, and how you can inspire other people to also make a difference.
Now, there must be challenges when you are faced with an area that needs regeneration. And I think there are probably a few uniquely South African challenges that you face too. Why don't you talk to us about some of those?
Well, I think obviously the social and spatial fabric of the city still is very segregated. So that's one of the main challenges. And this is a challenge you can also find in other cities, but it's how to overcome physical boundaries, but also mental boundaries in how you experience your own city. So, and that's not easy to change. So that's, step after step, and trying to change your own perceptions, to try to take risk as an individual, try to go to places you're actually not familiar with, to try to experience them at least, makes a difference. So that's one of the challenges. And I think one of the mains that we must all try to find solutions about.
Now, let's end on a good note. What about working in South Africa, if there is one thing that sticks out for you, thrills you and keeps you here?
I think people. I met so many inspiring people, from the small business owner to the council representative to the eager private developer or visionary, and they all bring something to the urban environments and try to make things change and have a positive impact in their own city. And I think people should remain full of hope and full of energy and try to want to make a difference, basically. So people, I would say, are great here.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, and I really do hope that you'll come back and talk to us in the future about your new project.
I would love to. Thank you for having me here.